Yay. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Hooray! Yay! Ah. Ah. Nothing to do because you can't do anything. You actually can't do anything. And that comes in really handy, you know, when you're getting a thought. It's the kind of reason that comes in handy when a thought's coming up telling you that you have to do something, or that you should have done something, or that you should have done something different, or you hope you're going to do it right. See, this is kind of like, you can call it the matrix or chaos, when the mind is just speaking about things that make no sense. These things make no sense. They're completely unreasonable, but we have given them credence. We taught ourselves that these thoughts are meaningful, so we have given them credence. You know, people talk like that, like I should have, I could have, you should have, you could have, you know, if you only would have. And you know, people take that as if it's reasonable, but it's not reasonable because of the fact that this is a dream. That's what makes it completely unreasonable. You know, if it was reality, if this dream was reality, then that would be reasonable. And then if this dream was reality, we'd all be screwed, because none of that shit ever works. And in dreams, you know, the way the dream is set up, it's like death at the end of it. That's weird. That's not reasonable. We made that up. It's not reasonable that anyone's ever being mean to you. There's only love. See, if you get the perception of someone being mean, you can just ask for a different interpretation, because, you know, when I've done that over time, I've come to see that no one's ever being mean to me. If someone seems like they're being mean to themselves, and they're looking to me for comfort if that's happening in my perception. Now, if I'm the one perceiving it, then that means I projected it, right? So if I'm the one perceiving someone being mean, then that's for me to take care of. They can't possibly be mean to me. And, you know, Michael, how did you get to that point? Well, I just kept on asking for a different interpretation until I knew I was seeing it clearly. Until I'm certain that I'm seeing it clearly. You know how I know I'm seeing it clearly? Because there's a sense of relief with that thought. There's relief with that. And connection and love. You know, it's not like now I have a wall up against my brother or sister. It's like there's a connection, because that's mine. It's like my child. I made that. I made that thing that seems to be oppressing me, let's say. Trapping me, projecting onto me. It's another thing. No one projects anything onto me. So when the thought arises that I should tell someone to manage their energy, and I think again, because you can see how that feels ahead of time. You could see it. It's almost like you could see what the future holds. You could see what the future reacting is. You can notice what kind of trajectory it goes on when you try to correct a person. What if a person comes up to you and they are just sure about all their political views, and they're totally the opposite of the ones that you have, and they're totally certain about it, and they're kind of like vicious about it and mean about it. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to be on that kind of wave with them? Are you going to join them on that kind of wave? Not that you can just project over it, but it kind of feels like you join them. That's people talk about energy vampires and stuff like that. This would be one of those cases, only if you don't look at them like an energy vampire, but as like a child that's coming to you for affection, compassion, then it's going to be a totally different scenario. You're not going to be pushing them away. You're going to be welcoming them in. You're going to be demonstrating, because those people aren't even there. They're not there. That's energy that you're welcoming. And see, you might hear this and think that I mean doing something, like you're supposed to open up the door to your house and say, "Come on in, fuckers." Come on in, come over here, mean people, come over to my house. No, it's more like an energetic thing. And you're watching how you think about the person. You're thinking about them in an unreasonable way, in a way that hurts yourself, then it'll be an upset feeling. So you notice what that is. You are the one hearing all of those things that you seem to be thinking about another person. So you are the one hearing them. And as an innocent, you're automatically believing them unless you have an overview. If you don't have an overview of them, noticing what they are and that they are unreasonable. It's just noticing that makes them unreasonable to you in that instant. And you notice they're unreasonable. They have no power over you. They can't affect you. They can't make you play any kind of patterns out. Thinking in separation, another, and other, and other. Yeah, the thinking in separation hurts your mind. There's no one there. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. The only thing that's real is love. It's the only thing that's real. There's absolutely no bodies. There's absolutely nothing there. And all the experience is asking you is to lean gently toward that awareness. One way I've heard it said is give a nod to God. Just lean toward that awareness. That all this is for is awakening from the sense that you're separate. This dream is for awakening. It's a dream of awakening. You can say the goal isn't really to awaken from the dream. That's kind of like the effect. The awakening from the dream is the effect of purifying the guilty self-belief, right? Because the more that's purified, for one, the happier the dream becomes, because you know that nothing but your own mind is affecting you. You're on a separate journey in a dream. Because separation is impossible for you. So that's the only place you can go on a separate journey. In a dream that you project. For me, it works so well. I've been looking in that direction for quite some time. And it came to work so well that as soon as I feel upset, I know I'm dreaming. So then what other choice is reasonable but to embrace the feeling in a dream? If you know your function, that's the way A Course in Miracles puts it. You might say purpose. People are always looking for their purpose. But that your only function is this healing vibe. However you want to say it. There's lots of different words to say it, but it's basically you get a sense that the world is real, right? You got an upset feeling. You got the sense that the world is real. If you're serious, if you're concerned, you got a sense that the world is real. When you get a sense that the world is real, your only function in that is revealing that it's not. In whatever way that is, leaning toward it, okay? Hoping that you can see it when you just don't have enough to have faith that you can see it. You could be so weighed down with concepts and weighed down with fearful thinking that you can't even see to faith. Maybe you can only see to be able to hope. I hope I'm wrong about this. This is one of my favorite ones. I hope I'm wrong about this. I don't need to use it anymore. At least I haven't in a really long time, because it's just obvious. It just becomes really obvious. I heard Osho talk about it before. It's a knack that you get. But first, it takes a sense, you're seeking, you're looking towards something. You can't help it. You're seeking towards it. Like, what is it? What do I need to be able to get the relief? You don't know what it is yet. But this nod to God, like I'm saying, real simple, just letting yourself be as you are, wherever you are, and whatever trajectory you seem to be, even if it's dark, letting it be there, and just an awareness, however it strikes you as meaningful. You could say an awareness of I'm dreaming, an awareness of I deserve better than this. That's a good one. You do. It's good that you're reacting, because if this is what you think it is, if this is your reality, you deserve better. See, if this dream is your reality, you deserve better. See, so it's pointing toward being able to have a perception of a dream and enjoy that perception of the dream without identifying with it. Without identifying with it as it's reality. Because when it's reality, you get attached to everything. When you think it's reality, you get attached to it. However someone's talking to you, whether or not someone's going to fire you. I was having a conversation with someone today. They were telling me how they know, about this boss that yells at her employees. And I go, oh, and they just take that on. And he's like, yeah, they sure do. And it's interesting because that is something that we just think we deserve. Don't realize, hey, wait a minute. I deserve better than this. People think about things like, what'll happen if I lose my job? People think about things like that. And also, you don't have to think about what'll happen if I lose my job. If you're open to healing through the experience, just healing through the experience, not knowing what you're going to say, but not holding yourself back, listening in the moment for what's coming. You never know what it's going to be. Once when I worked for a law firm, I had this boss, and he was really rude to all of the employees. He just like snort and he's so mad he'd snort. And just like berating people in front of all these people and stuff like that. And he came out and started doing that to several different people in the office. Not me, I wasn't one of them. But the guidance in the moment was just to email, you're being a dick, over to him, and it's like, I could tell it's guidance because there's a sense of excitement with it. There's a sense of excitement and connection too. So it's interesting because you never know what it's going to be, and you can't judge it. So the email goes, next thing you know, he's screaming my name from his office. He's snorting like crazy. He's coming out, his tongue's doing all kinds of weird shit. He would get into it. He would get into this role. So I'm like kind of smiling, you know, and I'm going over to his office, and he's like, can barely breathe because he can't believe I would have the gall to send him an email that said, you're being a dick. Him, the boss, right? So here I am standing in his office, and he's asking me about it. I go, well, yeah, you're going out there being a dick. That's what's going on. So, yeah, he kind of started tempering his dickness, especially around me. Especially around me. Because I just said I wasn't going to put up with it. I was just going to leave if that's the case. And, you know, I'm only like 21 at the time. I'm just like, I'm not going to put up with that stuff. And people would always ask me, like, when I say I'm not putting up with something, I'm not doing that. Well, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? I don't know, but I'm not staying here. It's just really simple like that. Like, however it goes, it goes. I don't mind, but I know I don't have to stay here. And, you know, that's the thing. I deserve better than that, you know, and it's not as if you're wrong. It's not as if, hey, if you want to run your show like that, that's cool, but I'm going over here. It's not like, you know what, I'm going to call some authorities and I'm going to report you. And I'm going to make you into this bad person. It's like, no, you have people to put up with that shit that are going to come around. Everyone's going to play with you. People are going to play. Not everyone's going to play with you, but the people who want to play that energy and feel like they're deserving of that kind of exchange, because it is an exchange. No one can do anything to anyone. Like, someone, you know, comes at me like that with all that energy, I'm just kind of like, okay. What is it that you want? What can I do for you? You know, the thing is, everyone is wounded. Everyone that you get a perception, they're wounded. We're all wounded. That's the way it is. It's like there's this sense that you're separate, and then you get a sense of a body. The only reason you got a sense of a body is because you've got a sense that you're separate. No sense that you're separate, no body. That's why it's a dream of awakening. The body fades away. The world fades away. It gets happier and happier until no sadness, dread, any of that stuff can enter. So it's through the kind of challenges, there are these challenges that pop up, you know, like say you're having a financial challenge, you know, and you get a sense of dread from time to time. I know that's something that occurs for me, and it'll go in cycles. I've seen it go in cycles. Like it'll take some months or years or something, and it'll come back around. It'll seem like everything's fine for a minute, and then it'll come back around. It'll be this sense of dread. And it's like, when that arises for me, I know it's for me, because that's not something that I'm not the only one sensing that kind of energy. That's an energy that circulates the mind. It's not personal. So when it arises for me, and I demonstrate to my own mind that the thoughts that justify that kind of dreadful feeling, that those thoughts are meaningless, there's relief. And that kind of relief spreads across the mind, because there's one mind. So it's just natural that the relief from that sense of dread spreads across the mind. And here's the thing with the financial dread thing, I am completely honored that I'm given that kind of experience. It's not a challenge for me. Whenever it seems like a challenge, that's because I'm identified as an ego. So even when it seems like it's a challenge, it's fun for me, because I know I'm identified as the ego, and that's always an unraveling. It's kind of like an unfolding and unraveling, and I know an even deeper sense of peace and certainty is coming. So that's all there is to it. All the things that seem to be like challenges. It's always a challenge for the ego and not for you. So you could be happy about that. And while you're feeling it as a challenge, you're sensing it as a challenge for you. That's giving you the opportunity to apply reason. The way A Course in Miracles puts it, bring it to reason. Okay, bring that to reason, whatever it is that is making this feeling justified for you. Like what'll happen if I run out of money, for instance. Okay, that is not a reasonable thought. That is not a reasonable thought to entertain or pursue in any way. And here's why. There isn't any money. You've never had any money. You only got perception that you had money so you can get a sense like it's real. So you can get a sense like separation really happened, like there's scarcity, like you only have this much. Okay, so you can get a sense that of I need to be greedy, for instance. Like this greed thing, or this defensiveness around money, or whatever people go through. That's the reason that money is being made real at all. Aloha, Cynthia from Louisiana. Thank you for joining. I love you. Oh, we have Natalie on. Natalie, you have something fun. Are you ready? Let me know if you're ready. Just raise your hand if you're ready. I love it when you guys ask me questions, when it gets you thinking, because, you know, sometimes maybe something doesn't sit right for you. And a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times, it's just the way you interpreted it, you know, because there's a certain, you know, the conditioning is a certain way of thinking. It's a certain mode of thinking. So then when I say things and it's seen through a filter, through a certain mode of thinking, you don't pick up on it in the way that I'm putting it down. So that's really fun. So a lot of the times things just need to be clarified a little bit. You know, there's other times, you know, I met one friend who came to Wisdom Dialogues and she just said she really likes dreaming, and she's not going to let go of it. And I said, okay, there's nothing else to talk about then. I'm not going to try to convince you that you shouldn't like dreaming. As long as you like dreaming, you like dreaming. That's perfect. You can use psychology. You can do all the different things that are available in dreaming for when you want to take dreaming as reality. As long as you want to take dreaming as reality, that's cool. Whenever you're suffering, it's because you're taking dreaming as reality, though. So just so you know. I don't tell everyone that. I barely tell anyone that. It's like sometimes there's just, wow, I'm telling that person that. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. I don't decide. They might get pissed at me. I'm open to that. It's all learning. And it's all, you know, for my mind, just for my mind to awaken. It's up to me to see clearly. I have to learn to see clearly. That's all. And everything that occurs and everyone that comes to me in every circumstance in the dream is for that. So that's why I'm so grateful for everything and everyone that shows up. They're all so good, no matter what they're doing. 15, sure. Easy. So I shared an experience on Facebook. It was Wisdom Dialogues Online. That's a group on Facebook in case you want to follow there. And I was talking about a really fun experience where me and my man, Tony, my husband, had a date for the first time in like 2 years. Like a date where you get dressed up and you go and you sit at the bar. Like that's our idea of the date. We love sitting at the bar places. We like to socialize on our dates. So we sit at the bar and we order some good food and have a fun ass time. Sometimes we get laid at the end too. That's always fun. And do a date. uh, so so we're over there, and it's the first time since all the mask stuff. You know, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And when there was mask wearing, we were just kind of like, nope, it's not appealing. All of a sudden, that just became completely unappealing. Like, we're not trying to punish anyone or anything. We would totally go if it seemed interesting, but couldn't do it. So now that it got lifted, I'm like, hey, that thing is lifted. Hey, you want to try going on a date? You want to do it? And he's like, sure. So we went to this new place. It's Caleos. It's a second Caleos. It's in Orchid Land. Yeah, it's a second Caleos in Orchid Land. You just barely turn and it's to the right. There's a big sign that says, if you don't come in, we'll all starve, or something like that. You can't miss it. That's a really fun part. So yeah, it's really close. Yeah. So this place is awesome. It's so open air, but it's got only 2 walls. Like, there's a kitchen and then there's a wall and then it's all open. And it's really nice. It's nice inside. So we pull up, sit down at the bar. A little bit later, this woman comes, and she's coming out of a red Corvette. These guys are like really elderly, you know, like born in the 40s or something like that. So they're like, and they're demonstrating it too. Like, it looks like that. They're like barely making it into the place, right? They pull up in a red Corvette and they're barely making it in there. So they want to sit at the bar. So they both need help to get over to the bar. They could probably make it on their own, but it looks painful. So, so they both get help to sit at the bar. So the woman's sitting next to me, and you know, you could tell she's in a lot of pain and she's like struggling to get up there and stuff. And the man who's helping her is so sweet. He's just like, it's okay, dear, take your time. You know, and just like taking really sweet care of her. So that was just like, oh. So she sat down and then she ordered her drinks, one for her husband, one for her. And as she's ordering, I was like, whoa, this lady is already just like 3 sheets to the wind. She's like, it seemed like it was pharmaceutical impairment. There's definitely something going on. She was barely able to order. So I was going, okay, interesting. I'm looking at the bartender, and the bartender's serving her and everything. And I'm like, okay. My mom was a bartender. So in California, like if you serve someone like that, you would be liable. So my mom would tell me stories like that. So I'm just watching and I'm just like noticing what's going on. So then she looks at me and I look at her and I smile at her, and we make eye contact for like a little bit, and we're just smiling and making eye contact. And then she just goes, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. So we sat there throughout the couple of hours we were there, and she just kept on touching me. She touched my arm, touched me, touched my hand, asked me if I'd be your friend. And I said, yes, definitely, I'm your friend. Many different times, the same question. I'd say yes over and over again, different ways. Sure, I'll be your friend, you know, just like whatever. You know, and it seemed like it was just like forgetting whatever. And then she'd grab my hand, and I'd hold her hand, and it was just like really sweet. And we all made plans. The husband was great. He was like also definitely having some kind of impairment, like, you know, there's like pharmaceuticals, I don't know. The other thing, I know all this that I'm perceiving is projected from me, so I'm not putting it on them. There's just like, this is the sense I'm getting. Nothing's there. Nothing's actually there, but I'm aware of the sense that I'm getting. I'm not trying to block it off or make it pretty or something like that. It's awesome. I love the sense that I'm getting. So I'm just playing with it, right? So the man, he's got a 49ers hat on. He is just like, and then the other man who was helping them, he was another customer. He wasn't anyone who worked there. He was another customer. He was helping them get their chairs, you know, helping them get to their chairs and stuff. he just riles this old guy up. You know, the guy in the 49ers hat starts talking about 49ers, and the guy just gets so excited. They start getting so loud. The old man who drove the Corvette is then squealing like a child in delight, just to have like this attention, this exchange. And they're both talking about how they have no friends and they need friends, and just like, and it was just such an uplifting experience. You know, it didn't matter that these guys were completely inebriated before they even showed up there. And then they're drinking like fish. They're really good at drinking. None of this stuff matters. None of this stuff matters. There's a feeling of upliftment when you're giving all to all, no matter how that's all is presented to you, no matter what it looks like to you. Okay. Now, being on Facebook, I definitely see a lot from spiritual, you could say, like, quote unquote, spiritual minded people complaining about and talking about the people that are so called whatever. I mean, these guys probably drink tap water, for crying out loud. You know, they're eating GMO. Right? I love you, Kim. Thank you. Anyone who's watching live can join at the link. Okay, anyone who's watching later on YouTube, you want to join, you can join at the link. There's a link for Zoom. Okay, you can come on here with me, and you can text me, and you can talk to me too. Isn't that fun? Yeah. Such a beautiful, rainy, cold day. This is so fun. So, you know, this sense that people are unworthy of your attention. See, whatever's arising in your field is what is asking. You can say asking. I've had a person ask me before. It was several years ago. I used to hang out with this friend, and you know, there was we had very different vibes that were, you know, kind of like visible to people. Like, I was always way up here, like all happy and stuff, and my friend was always like, something's going wrong. And yet we're together, and people would see us together and go, what the fuck draws those two together? Here's her, she's this way. Here's her, she's this way. So, you know, people would ask me, and it's like, she's the one showing up in my field. She's the one popping up and saying, I want to hang out with you, Hope. She's there. She seems to like hanging around me. She's sweet to me. She might be sad. She's not being rude. She doesn't mind if I'm happy. Oh, Marina, I love you, baby. She doesn't mind if I'm having a good ass time, you know. And for a while she hung out with me, and then she went fluttering off and doing some different stuff. I don't have a question about it. What happened? No, we relate the same all the time. We just relate in love. People in the field of experience, when they're looking, and you know, I've seen this recently with like a molester kind vibe too. I love that one because it's just cracking me up. When they're putting their attention on you, they're looking for love. They're looking to you to show them their innocence. Show them their innocence. You might not know how to do that. Most of you probably are going, what the fuck? How can I do that? What if some guy's pervy on me? I'm supposed to show him his innocence? I want to punch him in the nuts. You know, you can punch him in the nuts and also show them their innocence, because it's the showing the innocence is really, you're demonstrating it to your own mind, because remember, that perv isn't there. There's no perv. So you're demonstrating to your own mind that there is only innocence, and this is your dream, that this person's putting some energy on you. We all have a pervy friend, or uncle or something like that. Me and some of my friends have the same pervy friend. so funny because I'll mention the guy, right? Yesterday I mentioned him because I went somewhere with him and I was telling a story and I was mentioning him to a friend. My friend goes, "Oh my God, he's such a perv." And I'm like, I know. We made him that way though. See, we made him that way. So it's like when I was hanging out with him, he was doing some pervy thing. He was looking at and remember, when I say he was doing a pervy thing, I know I'm projecting it. Okay. The story is that he's doing a pervy thing. You put the story is in front of everything I say. Or in a dream at the end. So he's saying this pervy stuff. He's like salivating over my housekeeper, who's this cute little 20-some-year-old, you know. Yeah. And he's like, "Don't you?" And I, you know, at first he goes, my wife won't let me have my wife won't let me have a housekeeper that looks like that. And I'm like, "Why not?" And then he starts acting like that. And I'm like, "Oh, I see why your wife doesn't want you to have a housekeeper now." And he goes, "What? Don't you feel the same way?" And I go, "Well, I can see that it's cute, but I don't feel like acting like an old perv about it." It's like some people are drawn to play out the pervy vibe. Like from his perspective, it's like, why isn't everyone feeling like this? Why isn't everyone like, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh yeah, give it to me. Why isn't everyone acting like that? Isn't everyone thinking like that? Maybe so. Maybe the thought does occur to them, but maybe they don't want to pursue it. Maybe they'd rather explore what is that energy? Explore what is that energy coming up? Instead of being played, basically, you know, we get played by energies. Instead of being played by an energy, and question it. What is that energy? You know, I have a tendency to get played by an energy whenever I think something is real. You know, whenever I think a fact is important. And, you know, I could be, it's not the easiest because you tend to get sucked in, but I could be pretending like a fact is important because of I'm playing something out for a moment and not really believe it. See, you don't have a choice in what energy you're playing out. And, you know, whenever I'm making anything in the world real or important, I am pretending, whether I know it or not. I'm always pretending. The only thing that's real is love. And that's synonymous with joy and peace. So anything else that we get a perception of is meant to deny what's really true and keep dreaming alive. People even say, keep the dream alive. You know, keep on dreaming. Then you find out there's nothing here. Like some of my friends have been finding out that there's nothing here. They find out there's nothing here. Then it's different. Are you willing to find out there's nothing here? It's also scary. You know, feel into that. Are you willing to find out that there isn't anything here? That you're only on a lonely journey through a guilty self-concept. Trajectories projected off of a guilty self-concept. That's why the trajectories, they're nothing. They could just go on and on and on and on and on. As long as you want to keep on projecting time. That doesn't mean you can't play out a goal, because that's only on the surface. Remember to keep them Keep them separate. Reality and the surface thing that you're viewing. Those are what need to be kept separate. They are separate. They are distinct. Reality is totally distinct from the world you think you see. Your reality is totally distinct from being a body. That's dreaming. So when you take dreaming as dreaming and not as reality, then what you're really doing is you're facing it as you laid it out. You laid it out as an emotional sensation. So you're facing what it is that you laid out. And that's a very fearful thing to do. There's a lot of defensiveness around that. People would so much rather project how bad this other person is, for instance, because they yelled at me. And you know, I could drop all facts in a moment. I kind of feel like I'm a magician because of that. And you know, it's so simple. It is so darn simple. It's like I could drop all facts, all meaning applied to facts, gone in a second. As soon as someone gets defensive about a fact I'm talking about, that fact is dropped. I don't care about it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to try to get them to see that. Because the fact is chaos. It's part of chaos. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's not going to do anything. I don't need them to change their mind. They come up to me and go, hey, yeah, good thing we got vaccines. They work so well. We only got COVID like 6 times. And every time we didn't die. We're still here. Is that time to tell someone a fact? Is it time to tell someone a fact? Feel it. You'll know. It's just in the moment. Oh, really? I didn't take any of those injections and I didn't even get a cold that whole time. Oh, well, that's because you're young. I still get that. I think that's fun because I'm almost 50. And I still get, oh, that's because you're young. I'm like, yeah, fucking awesome. It's because I'm young. I was wondering when they were going to stop saying that to me. Now I realize it's never. I used to wish they would stop saying that to me. Like when I was in my 20s and stuff, I would wish that they didn't say that to me because they're not taking me serious. They're just not taking me seriously. Like I know something, fucker. but it's like, you know, it's like, who cares, really? They can think I'm the dumbest freaking broad they ever saw. I'm fucking happy, right? So it's like they can have all of those kinds of, oh, that's because you're young, or that's because you didn't get this kind of experience. It's and then, you know, just feel what that feels like to come back and then say, no, it's actually because I didn't get the vaccine. And you're like telling them that. Feel it, just feel it. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just saying be aware of it. Because you get aware, you get to be aware of what's going on, this whole energy play. You get more intricate with it. The more you look, the more you get intricate with it. You see where things are going. You see what, you know, you see how your energy in it kind of like perpetuates it in a certain way. So, you know, when someone's so sure that vaccines work and they're so sure that it's good to control all the people and tell them how they should dress inside stores and on airplanes, for instance, you know, and you think all that's good. The only thing you got from me is kind of like, is that so? That's all. And maybe let's have a hug about it. Because I'm not afraid of your fucking spike proteins. I'm not afraid of those. You just open it up for loving. And I noticed kind of like an energy shift in the other night in that bar too, because it turns out the man at the end who was being so sweet and helping the people with their chairs, he's a pastor. So, and we're two couples, so me and Tony and this other couple, this older couple, and he's going, find out they're not really that much older than us. It's just fun. In a dream. So so the pastor says something about God. The woman gets completely triggered. God. The woman that's sitting next to me, right? And then you could tell there was like kind of like, huh. And then I just go, oh, you know, God is just the same as source or anything like that. There's only one. There's only one in that position. They just have a bunch of different names. So then it's just humorous, you know, then everyone's just laughing, you know, it's like it doesn't have to turn into a debate. We've got obvious people talking about the universe and source. And, you know, there's a defensiveness against anything that says God or seems like to smack of Christianity or anything like that. So that falls anyways, no big deal at all. Next thing you know, the pastor and all five of us are making plans specifically for June 11th down at Maku'u Point, where we're all going to get remarried and the pastor is going to do it for us. And he's like, I don't want anything in exchange but your love. It was just really sweet. It was just like really almost like communion. Yeah. Anything, and you could tell everyone felt it, you know, irrespective. I told people before, man, I don't care if you're like shooting up heroin. If you're listening to this right now, you are being enveloped by all this love, and all you have to do is kind of like turn toward it, open it, and you just open up to it, and you not only receive it but extend it too, and you see it reflected back to you because you're extending it all the time. So that's how your experience is. You know, it's just like a loving vibe and uplifting. So it's like you could tell the vibe was just like really uplifted when we left. I have no idea if anyone is ever going to call anyone. We all exchanged numbers. I'm just kind of like, well, we'll see how that goes, you know. And the guy is so sweet, the pastor guy. He doesn't want anything in exchange, and he says he wants to talk to us. I don't know how. People were drinking a lot of alcohol at this thing. I mean, I guess I was drinking a lot for me because I had like one and a couple sips of a martini, which is like compared to zero, that's a lot. But definitely people were like getting rounds, like rounds are coming. So who knows if they even remember anything the next day. It doesn't matter. It's just interesting to see how it goes. Okay, let's see. I love you guys. Thanks for your comments on Facebook. I see you. Natalie, okay, it's time to take Natalie on. Here we go. She's got fun stuff to talk about that I'm sure, you know, everyone probably has this question in the back of their mind or it's coming up.
Okay, am I unmuted?
You are unmuted, my love. I hear you.
All right. Oh my gosh, yeah, love that story you just shared. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this whole past. Okay, so first off, I discovered you and your recordings, Wisdom Dialogues, back in November, and it's just been amazing. I have a half an hour commute to work every day, and so I'm pretty much, you know, listening to Wisdom Dialogues about an hour a day, and even listening to it like if I go to the gym. It's just so fun.
Oh,
And
good.
I know, I just love it. So I was really nervous about starting to date again, but
wait, let's just go a stop on that part before you even go any further.
Okay.
What is this nervousness?
Yeah, based on like experiences of the past, you know, and sort of feeling vulnerable, putting myself out on a dating app where it's like strangers are contacting you. And so it just feels really vulnerable. And, you know, I've had some icky experiences. So just kind of thinking about what happened in the past and, you know.
So yeah, you're not nervous about going on the dating app and doing the dating. This nervousness is coming from something else. So when you even get the sense that you're nervous over something, stop. apply reason there. There's no way you can be
Oh.
nervous about dating. It doesn't matter what experience you think you had in the past. There's no past. It's a habit to get nervous.
Totally. Yes. I know. And so so you really helped me to see that. And so I went in about a month ago with kind of this new wisdom embodied. And I was like,
Okay.
I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm like
Okay.
really going to try to put this into play. The whole like, fuck it, I'm just going to have fun. And yeah, so I met a really great guy just right off the bat. And so we've been like hanging out for a month, and it's been really, really, really fun.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Really great guy. What is that?
Well, for me specifically, I feel like I'm kind of picky. Like I have a lot of different things. Like if I were to actually write out a list, it would be, there'd be like, oh, it has to be a musician and a hiker and into healing. And
So that's bullshit. You're a really great guy is a bunch of bullshit. Right?
I'm starting to see.
You don't know what you fucking want?
I know. I don't know what I want. I know. Also, I know. So this is like such the perfect. I can't believe like this all happened, because I was like, oh, let's see how this is gonna play out.
Right. It's perfect.
Oh, and I know, and also the concept of like, this is my movie, and I'm the one casting all the characters in my movie for the purpose of awakening. That was a game changer for me when
good.
I heard you say that back in November. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I've really put that into play a lot these past few months.
Good.
So I was like, okay, this is it. So it's like, I knew that this was kind of happening. It's like, oh, I've cast, Mr. Dreamy. He's got all the attributes. I'm like, let's see how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
So I can't, so I cast Mr. Perfect, and all the scenarios were always fun. And then I didn't like hear any contact with him for about 5 days. And so when I'm at work doing massage, I have a lot of time for my brain to my mind to work these thoughts. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm nervous I haven't heard from him. So I'm going to do that thing that Hope says, where it's like, go into the feel. What is the fear? We'll go into it instead of resisting what the fear would be. So I went in, so I spent about 4 days like, oh man, just really feeling all the feelings of what it would feel like if we broke up and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday morning, I wake up to a breakup text.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, with like no opportunity for any sort of communication or talking. He wouldn't call me. I'm like, oh, please call me so we can at least talk about this. He hasn't called. I mean, he's just like vanished. It's just like, oh my gosh. So
And you
I
weren't
was
just like, okay, bye.
Not yet. Today I am.
Playing bye.
Yeah, today I am at that point. But so Saturday, I'm like, oh my God, this is like the craziest, hugest opportunity for awakening if I want to take it. Because if this had happened like a year ago, I just would have been devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh man, this is so cool. Like, I'm really going to fucking work this one. So I spent, but then I was like, am I overdoing it? So I spent literally like the whole day Saturday, just, every thought that came up, I just felt it fully and said, how can I see this different? How can I use this for awakening?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would get to these, I guess one of my questions is, I would have these like peak experiences that felt like I was like, oh my gosh, I really see through all this bullshit. But then 5 minutes later, boom, another one would roll.
Yeah.
And so it was really this endless stream.
Yeah, that's totally common. That's totally common.
Okay.
It almost seems like you're running a marathon. And that would be one thing they would talk about, Kundalini Yoga. Okay. You know how Kundalini Yoga is? It's a breath of fire. It's like this fast motion. It's like,
yeah.
Like you're breathing in this fast motion way, right? But you're relaxed. It's relaxed and fast. So in that practice, you're learning how to do the never-ending exercise, which is what it feels like when you're going through something like that, because you keep on coming back and you're focusing again.
Right. Keep coming
That feels
back.
like you're running. Yeah. I know how it is. And that totally changes. And the thing is, this energy is going to become a lot more playful and a lot more fun for you. Every single time you go through it like that, you are learning how to see it more clearly. And that means that it's just going to become more and more fun for you. The question, are you overdoing it? That's an evaluation. That's a meaningless question. There's no answer to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to entertain. You don't have a choice. You can't help it. The thing is,
Oh, I know. I know. I was like,
running
I'm like, oh,
away
should
from
I
it.
try to distract myself away from this process and like watch some Netflix, but it's like, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, man, I gotta stick with this. This is too good,
Right.
Yeah, just amazing. Just the body sensations along with it. And
Right. Yeah, notice those body sensations. How can you get those body sensations? And basically when we're saying body sensations too, there is no body. This is a sense of a body. That's what we're talking about, a sense of a body. So we're getting a sense of a body, and things seem to be intense for the body that doesn't exist. Okay. And we're making it more intense when we identify with it and start going down those thought streams, making these things real. You first made the dude into something when he was Mr. Dreamy to you. It's like
Right.
it looks like that, but man, you better hold that shit light. I was holding Tony light, and still am. 28 years later.
Oh yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Who knows? The mind is fickle.
Yes. Yeah. And and then I was like, oh, and then there's the other concept of like, the opposites playing out. And so it's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
is this the dynamic of like, oh, like, so I'm really having fun with this. So then does that mean the opposite then is coming, where it's like all of a sudden I'm not going to have fun with this anymore?
Well, no, it's
for a
not
period.
like, well, yeah, yes and no. Like, because everything's passing and changing and changing. As long as there's still attachment, you're going to experience, you're going to have the experience like, or the perception like you're not having fun with something. But at some point, you're just going to know that's not even possible for you to not have fun with things. You're just going to know that.
Okay.
Right. So it's going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But the opposite of coming, usually when is usually when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about when you're making him into something. Like if you're making him into this thing that brings joy to your life and that you depend on, the opposite of that is coming.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the ego's love. See, like
Yeah.
the ego's love always has this hatred, fear based thing at the end of it. Even like if a body seems to die, they're not born, so they don't really die, but they pass away, however you want to say it. And people take that really hard. That's because it's special love. If it's not special love, you are not going to be bummed out that a body passed away, no matter how close you are to that person. You can call them person. When the body passes away, there's no reason that you shouldn't be just as close, because it was an illusion. Okay. Their body sense was an illusion. They were not in that body. But that will show you your attachment. Like if you're going to get upset over a dead body, then that's revealing your attachment. It's not good or bad. It's just revealing where you could use some light, where you can use a reinterpretation, where you can see how it's not what you made it out to be. Because you have to be making it out to be something that it's not, to be able to get upset over a dead body. Bodies are meaningless.
One other thing I'd like your input on too is in the past couple days of it's like, oh, well, eventually at some point we'll probably talk. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe this guy just disappeared off the face of the planet. I don't know. But so then of course my mind is just going to like, oh, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And so I've just gone through these just, in-depth scenarios of like what I would say. Am I actually just like talking to myself? Like, what is that?
Well, you're just projecting time. Because it's like you're projecting a scenario where you could play out that kind of energy. It may even be for another lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't entertain those. I wouldn't pursue those thoughts. I mean, you might go, how can I not pursue them? Okay, pursue them if you're pursuing them, but get some detachment from them, noticing that you are pursuing thoughts that are extending time, not to make you afraid, just to make you aware. There's nothing to be afraid of, because it can all be healed in an instant. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Is noticing that is what you're doing. And then it is. That's how you learn. Keep going through it, keep noticing what you're doing. You're getting this kind of feedback loop where you're seeing what you're doing and how it's making you feel. What am I doing? How's it making me feel? What am I doing? How's it making me feel? This has nothing to do with what you seem to be doing in the illusion. The only doing that you do is through observation.
Right.
You question what they're doing in the illusion. You can only look in the observation. Now look at this too. When you got the message from him, and then you were asking, what, we can't even talk and stuff like that. Watch that energy.
Okay.
Because noticing, there's this sense of attachment and gripping. Okay. Because it's like, who gives that fucker is done with you? Who gives a fuck anymore?
Okay.
It's not in a mean way.
Yeah.
It's just that the only reason there's this still looking in that direction is there's some attachment there. So just get a feel for that.
Yeah.
Watch yourself when you are looking for someone's attention when they clearly are done with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Just watch that energy, because that'll show you so much. You'll learn so much from that. You'll learn how to be okay. It's just okay with however someone is you're not trying to get their attention anymore, because you don't feel like you need that.
I think in the observation of that, what it seems like is I'm like, okay, this Course in Miracles student, and like, realizing that there's so much, healing to be done. And it's like, oh, it just seems like a missed opportunity. And it to like, oh, like what could be wrong about two people actually having a freaking conversation, about something. So it just drives me crazy that that's I guess my the observations I'm observing, that I think there's some missed opportunity.
Yeah. So you're the one looking at it like there's something wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you're going, what could be wrong with this? And it's like, what could be wrong with this? What could be wrong with the perception that someone doesn't want to have that conversation with you? Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's an addiction. Yeah. What is wrong here?
Right.
Yes. Rack up the list. Let's get out a pen and paper. Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun how the mind will project them as if they're the ones projecting wrongness, while at the same time it's projecting wrongness for the way they're doing things. Always making about the other person. That's the thing. It's like whatever we make about them, we're talking about ourselves. But look at whatever you're making about them, and then you're reacting to it. Let's say it like that.
Okay.
Making something about them and you're reacting to them. You're reacting to something within yourself that's not really there, that you made up.
Right. Yeah. My
There's nothing in you to react to.
That self-image concept thing that I made years ago with the ego. Well, it's an ongoing creation, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's an ongoing manifestation as long as you keep on choosing, and you know, at first you can't help, you're choosing it all the time, like all the time. Is that keep on choosing the world over salvation, basically.
Yeah.
Just keeps on setting out time and making more of these kinds of scenarios. I mean, for me, if someone broke up, I could see like, just like right, I don't know how I would do it, but you know, just like right now, what comes to me is just like, oh, thanks. I had a great time with you. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with me. That was great.
Well, I know. It's like, well, see, it's like it's driving me crazy that I don't get the chance to actually say that. Well, maybe I will sometime this week. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah,
Well,
I'm feeling like I could authentically say that today. Yeah.
You couldn't say it at the time because you didn't mean it. All you were looking for was like more attention, right?
Yeah.
So then you know, you're just like looking for attention at the time. So that's perfect. That's what it's for. Because each time, oh my goodness, when you're aware of this shit, you'll be
Oh,
surprised.
man.
You'll probably be surprised at how quickly things change. Especially all these different little nuances that you're going through. Because look at all these different little nuances, these little patterns that are all over this thing. And they just unravel through the experience.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine how it feels, how it feels right now. Like you just, guy texts you and he's like, hey, you know what? Your pussy really smelled like fish and I'm not into being with you anymore. And you're like, oh, well, thanks. I really enjoyed the time with you. You know, just feel what that feels like. And you know, that's another thing. You can do it that way.
Totally. Yeah. Oh God, what's the other one too that came up? So like in Course in Miracles, you know, it's always he's talking about like you can't experience there's these two states of mind and you can't experience them simultaneously. Right.
That's right.
But I'm like, really? Because I kind of feel like I can.
Okay. Well, that's your experience. I'm not going to argue with you.
I don't know. But it's so much just that like flip flop where it's like, one moment I'm feeling like, whoa, like I see everybody as a savior. It's like, and the next, and it's like freaking 2 minutes later. Yeah. So it kind of seems like that's experiencing two states of being at the same time.
They're not simultaneous though. You're flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you flip to the side that is not worthy of you, just noticing that it's not worthy of you, you're looking for a different interpretation. I know it's like a marathon. Yes, it's okay if you find yourself distracting yourself on Netflix with your ice cream or whatever. There's no judgment about that, and you don't have a choice. You don't even have a choice. Okay, so apparently you're not even doing that. You're just like, I just really want to feel these energies. You know, once you get the taste for it, you're like, wow, this is blissful. I can do this all day. And how long is this going to go?
I know. I was. But then it started to feel a little manic. So then I was like,
All manic comes from thinking. All manic manic has to do with thinking. Yeah. That's all it is. Okay. You don't need to think. You don't need to think about it. Just rest. It's like you rest with it. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like running a marathon, and you know the way they taught breath fire in Kundalini Yoga. It's like you're going fast, but you have a relaxed breath. So there's this fast pace, but it's a relaxed fast because it's going in. It's kind of almost going on its own from the belly. You know, so you let yourself relax within it because that manic is all it is thinking. That's all it is. You don't have to pursue any of those thoughts. So you're going to get relief right in the moment. See if you can Notice where your breath is. If
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
notice where your breath is, it automatically goes deeper. You see that if you just notice where it is. One of my friends was telling me she notices that she holding her breath all the time. I'm like, that's great. I mean, the more you're interested in that, do you want to know when you're holding your breath? Are you interested to know when you're holding your breath? If you're interested to know, then you're going to be looking at that. When you're holding your breath, you're totally in dreamland. Now, every thought pattern has an associated breath pattern.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if your breath is going to your belly, if you're able to get that nice belly breath, you're awake. That's just how it is. In that instant, that moment, you're awake in the dream. Obviously, you're not awake from the dream, but in that moment, you're awake in the dream. So you're present. That's what presence is. Presence is breath. I mean, unless you're snorkeling, you can be present without it. And then you got to be paying attention to holding your breath. If you're holding your breath on purpose, that's the same thing. Notice when you're snorkeling, as soon as you hold your breath and everything's silent, woo, that's pretty meditative, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, unless you're thinking like a motherfucker, which a lot of people do. I mean, when that occurs for me, I get in there and I'm just like, oh, everything goes silent. But I don't know, you can get in there and start thinking about your bank statement.
God.
And then it's not even snorkeling anymore, it's something else. One way one of my yoga teachers puts it is, when you're thinking during an activity, you're not even doing what you want to be doing. You don't want to be thinking, you want to be in that activity. You're not even doing what you want to be doing.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I'll be in block therapy for hours, and that's when you're in block therapy for hours, also you're doing that activity, block therapy. You're not thinking. If you're thinking, you're not doing the activity, block therapy. You're thinking. You're not doing both. You're not doing both, because it's observation. The doing is in the observation. Your body, maybe your body image, there's no body, maybe going through the motion of block therapy, but that's not what you're doing. You're thinking about what you're going to eat later or something. You're in a completely different place. So, just let that be encouragement for you. You can see through these. You can see through this obsessive, manic mind that can't stop thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a nice drive from one place to the other. Let's say a 15-minute drive. You can have a 15-minute drive without a thought. Just watch. We can make it a game. How many times during this 15-minute drive will I catch myself thinking and bring my attention to where the hands are on the wheel, feeling the wheel, the vibration of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds. There's so much going on. Nothing's happening, but there's so much going on in terms of information you're taking in. That's all coming through the senses. And thinking is one sense that's kind of overtaken the whole thing. Okay? Thinking is just one sense. Oh, yeah. That's not what it's for. That's not what it's meant for. It's not meant for running your life. It's not meant for being the dominating experience all day long. Your body.
Oh, yeah, what's that one?
Doing all this shit, but your whole experience is thinking, right?
Yeah, there's that one lesson. Of course, my only real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. It's man, where are those?
Right. Well, those
are not at the forefront.
And that's the thing, when you will see that these thoughts are meaningless and you know what else? Completely inappropriate, right? When you're willing to see that that's what's going on, then thoughts of God will come to you. That's what goes on for me all day long. Thoughts of God just come to me. It just occurs. I don't have to listen to A Course in Miracles anymore. I have a bunch. And I'm not saying I won't listen to it. I love it. It's beautiful.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I know I must have experienced that. It seems like I'll make more of an effort to be like, okay, I'm going to make some consistent effort to try to hear those thoughts with God today. But that's so cool. You get to a place where they just come. Wow.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, they're just coming because it's empty space. Every time you see that a thought is meaningless, it drops and then there's empty space.
Yeah.
That's where the thoughts of God come, in the silence. So you're making silence around everything. Even in conversation, you're making silence because a thought occurs to you and you could just relax it. Like, for instance, when I'm noticing this person already seems inebriated at the bar ordering drinks. And then the thought of, what I know about this and that and this and that, drop. All of a sudden, back in the experience. I don't have anything to do. And if there was something for me to do, I'd have a perception that I'm doing it. See? It's like we let little things just take us out of the experience. Here's another one. The other day I'm in block therapy. And Tony comes in and I'm like, and I'm just about to start a new calf one. And I go, you want to try this calf one with me? And he's like, sure. So he gets in there and he gets all frustrated, throws the block. Fuck this, I can't do this. And he goes, sorry. And he walks out. And right there, I could see how, and it's so playful for me because I could see how I have an opportunity right there to get hooked if I want. I can start thinking about how all this nonsense, none of it's real, but to give you an example, to give you an example, fuck, he's so impatient. He doesn't want to take the time to learn how to do it right. He didn't even listen when we got struck. And it's like, when you see what that is and you know what that is, it's actually fun to see it because it's meaningless. Therefore making suffering for you, and that's all it's there for. That's all it's popping up for. So then, I completely forget about the incident and our relationship stays super sweet. I don't have this chip, but I could, if you pursue any of those that I made an example about, you are sour toward the person. You can't even help it. You're sour toward them. And you know what? This is the thing. This is the ignorance that people go through, is they'll all of a sudden see that person reacting to them. And they're like, what did I do? You just fucking made them. You made them react to you. That's what you did. There's no logic to it. It's chaos. Oh, Constance. Constance has a note for you. I promise it gets easier. Thank you, Constance.
I know. I've oh man. Yeah. I just, like I said, if this had happened a year ago, it's like, oh, I would have been devastated. And so, yeah, I'm very pleased.
You already see that it's easier. And you're seeing from this standpoint how it's getting easier as you go forward. Yeah.
Aw, thank you, Constance. Thank you, Hope. I love you
both.
both.
I love you. Yay.
Thank you, ladies. Okay. Aloha.
It's kind of like you're going through the desert. It's kind of like you're walking through the desert for a little while. Like the sun's really hot. And you're like, am I going to make it to the oasis? Here's the thing. You're guaranteed to make it through the oasis, because the whole desert is a dream and you can't die in it. Can't die in it. It's just a dream. And this desert, it goes on for lifetimes, as many lifetimes as you need. Okay. And it's like you can stop, and it's kind of like you throw up a tent and get some water and take a break as long as you want, and that's, you could say that's like maybe like getting all drunk and sitting down and watching Netflix because you're feeling upset and you want to feel a little bit better. That's kind of like taking one of those breaks, nothing wrong with it, whatever that is for you. I don't know, some people have different things, masturbation, whatever. It's not hurting anyone, great. Not that you really can hurt anyone, but if you get the sense that you're hurting another person, look at it, because you're hurting yourself right there, and you want to stop hurting yourself as soon as you possibly can. And I'm talking about emotional pain too. If someone feels like they're being abused by you, or someone feels like they're being controlled by you or anything like that, that's you. So watch. It's instead of how dare they think I'm mean? How dare they think I'm greedy, for instance? Whatever it is. Instead of that, noticing that you made them say that kind of stuff to you. So you let them completely off the hook, because there is no them. And then you're just getting that feeling as it is. Okay, not as this thing that you're trying to exchange. It's like you're trying to exchange this feeling for a better feeling, usually, instead of just getting it as it is. It reveals everything to you. Simplest thing for the moment. And you might, like, I don't know, write it down, relax and feel. And then you can forget about everything else. Just relax and feel. See if you can relax. If you feel like you can't relax, relax about that. See what I mean? Just keep on taking it a step back. So it's like, Hope told me to relax. I'm not relaxed. I'm doing it wrong. Relax around that. See, that's what relaxing is, because it's all in the mind. So as long as you will relax with whatever you're willing, see, you are willing to relax with whatever is being presented to you, the way is going to be made clear. Thank you, Asana. I'm so glad you can laugh with me. I'm so glad you like my sense of humor. And like, if anyone doesn't like my sense of humor, I'm not mad at them or think they should like my sense of humor. And I'm not going to be trying to change their mind either. They're right. I have a shitty sense of humor from their perception in their dream. And then I'm projecting a person that thinks I have a shitty sense of humor in my dream. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to wrap a bunch of love around it. It's perfect for me. Once a girl told me I was ugly and she's going to punch my teeth down my throat. And, I heard that. And, it occurred to me that it was just interesting that she said that to me, because I thought she was much uglier than me. Of course I didn't say that. I don't know how to fight. But all I could do was say okay. Say okay. It just kind of ended up like this thing, and she's way bigger than me. It's kind of ended up like this thing where I'm just looking at her and she's just looking at me, and she says the thing, and then I say okay, and then it's like we're just standing there, and then it's like okay, walk away. Yes, me. Can you believe it, Asana? Look at this. How is someone saying this is ugly? Can't believe it. There's nothing here. That's why everyone's having a different interpretation. Well, one little boy was looking at me, and this was just like a couple years ago. This little boy was looking at me, and he was looking at me funny. He just kept on looking at me. And I was like, what's up, little man? He's like, why are your teeth so big? And I'm like, man, I had no idea my teeth were that big. I guess they're big. You're like a horse. I'm like, that's awesome. Little kid. I was glad his mom wasn't around to correct him or anything, you know. That's the part for me where I'm like, that's where I have like the sense of separation, I guess. When like a kid tells me something, like I had my niece tell me one time, you're not my Auntie Hope. You look so old. And my brother was sitting next to her. My brother start correcting her. That's where I start feeling uncomfortable. Not that she's telling me I look old, but that my brother's correcting her for something that she has no choice in. I'm like, oh. But you know, the little boy said that to me, and I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know, buddy. You know. Next time I look in the mirror, I'm like, man, interesting angle that guy had. I don't see that, but that's cool. But yeah, everyone is getting their own perception. They're seeing as exactly what they need to from their point of view. And from your point of view, that's like none of your fucking business what they need to see from their point of view. All that's from your point of view is you're getting a perception of exactly what you need. So that kid telling me, why are your teeth so big? I'm projecting that for a reaction. So there's the reaction. It's like, a horse. That's all. And then it's just connection. No issue with it. I can look like a horse and still be happy as fuck. Okay. Did I do it? What happened to Asana? I thought you had your hand up. Did you put it back down? Oh, you're back again. Okay. I love this way of communication. This is fun.
Unmute. So
Unmute.
you can hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear
Oh,
me now?
yes. Oh,
You remember that, don't you?
no.
Oh, you're so hysterical, Hope. I love listening to you. You always make me laugh my ass off.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You know what?
And then I've listened to you for a little while, and I find myself swearing.
Oh, that's fun.
And talking like you.
Oh gosh. What do your friends say?
Well, nothing.
That's great. That's great.
You know, not too much.
With a smile. You just say it with a smile, and it's all good.
Yeah, you know, right. I just act like I always talk, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You do it with a smile, and you're happy.
Yeah, it feels very natural.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's just being natural. You're going to get all of your lessons. And it's like, what doesn't want to be natural? What wants to put on a show for other people to see? You know,
Right.
what's afraid of authenticity?
Right. Yeah, but you're just too funny. It's like some things, you know, this seems so outrageous. That's why they're so hysterical.
Right. Because you're not expecting that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you know, when you get hit with it, it's like, oh, this is really a good one. You know, you do that all day long. I wish I did that all day long.
Well, you know, and you know, here's the thing about laughing that just came across my awareness. And it seems like I always knew this, but it seems like it's so much more prevalent right now. Mm-hmm. When you laugh, the thing that why they say laughter is the best medicine. As soon as you laugh, you are exhaling. When you laugh, you're exhaling completely. And at the end of it, you're getting a nice deep inhale. It's totally relaxing. And remember what I talked about, how each thought has a resonant breath pattern, right?
Yeah.
So if you're laughing, you're suspending thought. You know, there's, you can
Yeah.
spend all day laughing. You can be in laughter yoga. It's good stuff.
It is. I teach it actually. I haven't done it in
Nice.
years, but I used to teach it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's great
Good.
stuff.
Yeah, no wonder you
Yeah.
can laugh. You're not one of those people that's going, can I laugh at that?
No,
Is it okay? Is it
it
okay?
just happens. I don't have any
Yeah.
control.
Right.
Right? You know, it's like it is what it
Like,
is.
who's looking at me laughing right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, laughter is freaking genius.
it is. It really is. It's
It's
funny. It was a
suspends
lot of fun
everything.
teaching it because yeah, because it's so playful. You know, it's like you're acting like a little kid. So you get to be a little kid and act silly, and in the end, you know, it's just a huge natural release.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, it's similar to sex too.
yeah,
You know, it's
that's
like,
true. You get worked up, it gets your blood pressure going. Oh yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
suspension of thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like, that's why it's like, and when you see too, here's the other thing about laughter, you know this, Asana, when you see through the world, it's laughter.
Oh
It's
yeah.
pure laughter. Everything is fucking funny. It doesn't matter how weird or gory or whatever the ego's trying to make it.
Right.
Dreadful, dark, doesn't matter. It's funny.
Yeah.
Just the fact that we think we made these things is hilarious. And anytime we seem concerned or things seem serious or things seem like a challenge, it's funny. It's for play. We don't see it as funny when our mind is conditioned, but that's the whole thing. We're using all of these seemingly upsetting things to purify the mind. We just start using them for that. It's like Natalie just did with this thing with apparently Mr. Right. What a fun setup that is.
Oh yeah. Everybody's always waiting for the other one to change. You notice that?
Yeah,
That's what I just heard the other day. Oh yeah,
yep,
he's waiting for me to change blah blah, and I'm waiting for him to change blah blah. I'm
yep.
like, okay, good luck with that one.
Yep. And then seeing it is cutting it off. It is just seeing it. But what people do is they see it and then they get concerned about it. You don't have
Yes.
to get concerned about it.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like when I made the discovery back like 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, someone, I don't know who the fuck it is poisoning the whole food supply. You know, when that came to my
Right.
attention, I'm like, whoa, I was scared. I was freaking scared. I thought I had to protect myself. You talked about some defensiveness, making the world out to be threatening and stuff like that. But it's like, once you see what this is, you can be aware of the fact of the matter and not be threatened by it. And when you're aware of the fact of the matter, you probably don't find yourself going, yeah, let me drink a bunch of tap water. That sounds good. Oh, I want to increase my amount of fluoride that I have wrapping around my fucking pineal gland. Let me get some more of this shit. Not that there is a pineal gland or any of this stuff is happening. And the way we set up the illusion, things seem to have effects. Okay. And you know, you can't even help it. If you're gonna, you know, you don't have a idea about what the situation is, you may find yourself like totally like duh and obeying your authority all the time. That's basically symptoms of that kind of stuff. But none of that stuff, like the calcinating, is that what you say? I don't know, calcified pineal gland and all that stuff. None of that stuff is possible without a guilty self-concept. So that's a guilty self-concept that's really projecting these things. So what everyone needs from us is not knowledge that tap water is bad for you and it's got fluoride in it. It's not knowledge about that. And it's not to get in an argument that with someone that says tap water is good for you. It's just love, because that's what it takes to see through it all. That's really what it takes. So when the knowledge that you learn, remember, wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. So the knowledge that you learn, the knowledge that I learned, for instance, let's take this example, knowledge that I learned about the tap water being fluoridated and fluoride being bad for your pineal gland. Okay, for instance, that particular knowledge, it's meaningless actually in the scope of things. Now, naturally, I don't feel attracted to drink tap water. They gave me tap water at the restaurant. It just sat there. I didn't even take a sip of it. You know, if I do find myself drinking tap water and I get a perception that I might have poisoned myself, that's where the work comes in. Or you could say the play at this point. Ooh, it seems like I poisoned myself. I was feeling really thirsty. I've been at Disneyland before, and you know, they only offer 2 kinds of water there, Coke and Pepsi. They make water. And you know what? There's not just water as ingredients. You can look at ingredients. It's not just water. There's other shit in there with the water that's added to the water for flavor, to make the water flavor good. So at one point I was so thirsty, I go, I'm just going to drink that. I think it was my daughter maybe asked me, hey, Kaya, she's on here too. Are you going to be okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to drink some fucking water right now. I'm going to have my thirst quenched and I'm going to be fine. And as you can see, all is well. Yeah, we just use everything. We just use everything. And you know, to someone else, that might not even be their like, hope, you know what? That's some crazy stuff about people putting fluoride in the water. I drink fluoride all the time. It's part of my regular, I make sure I get 8 glasses fluoridated water specifically. In fact, I go down and I buy that baby water over at Target that already has fluoride in it. And it's for babies to drink. And I drink it myself. And I feel great. And I think you're just completely full of shit, Hope. Perfect. I'm not going to argue with that's great. I love that. Oh, you just drink the fluoride. I want to hear stories like that. That's good. Oh, you just drink the fluoridated water all day and you've been doing that for 30 years and you're totally like happy and you feel light and groovy. Then I'm going to be like, fuck yeah. I'm going to be like, fuck yeah. Have I met a person like that? No. If any of you want to step forward, I'd be happy to meet you.
You won't create that.
Well, let's see. I'm open to it because anything's possible. I'm totally open to it. Next thing you know, I'm like, hey, you guys, you got to try this fluoridated water. This shit's good for you. Look at this person over here. A shining example.
So how do we convince the body that whatever senses we're experiencing, that they're not real?
Oh, okay. Well, what you want to do is demonstrate to your mind. You know that word well, right?
Yes.
Demonstrate to your mind that the sensations are not real. Not only that, not only are they not real, but they're fun. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we want to demonstrate to our mind. I know you're saying, yeah, like that haven't been that fun for me. But,
well, yeah. I've tried that, that it's not real thing. And, it's moved me out of the moment,
Okay.
But, I still find myself constantly falling for it, every day, as we age. I have the old age beliefs,
Oh, the old age beliefs. Great.
Yeah, right. And so.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Can you remember to smile when that occurs?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, go like this when that occurs. Smile, close your mouth and smile. Okay. And I don't know if you have any experience with this. Can you put your tongue at the top of your mouth too?
Yeah.
Okay, put your tongue out the top of your mouth, smile and feel the feeling. Kind of like, think of it like you're reading a book. Get really interested in it.
All right.
Yeah, and the thoughts, you can't do all that and pay attention to the thoughts at the same time.
Right.
You can't have all that and pay attention to your
Right.
thoughts. So
Right.
you're like you're reading a book,
Uh-huh.
okay? Because this is how you're demonstrating. Number one, a smile on your face
Mm.
while
Mm.
the old age thought came up makes it playful. And when you can
Okay.
make it playful, you can learn. You can your mind can expand to project even things into the perception that seem to reverse aging for you. And that could be different
Okay.
for anyone, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's just that when we open up to that, we make the possibility. See, so it's like you
Yeah.
open, but without attachment to it, because it's like, you know, I don't have to uh, uh, make myself 25 years old in this lifetime, like make myself appear like I'm 25 years old in this lifetime. Just that I'm leaning in that direction and opening it up for all my friends too. Like no one deserves to age. No one deserves to age. Okay. So it's like opening the way for all my friends too. It's not about myself. It's not about me. It's like leaning in that direction. Oh, a thought of aging comes up. This is fun. This is exciting. The thought of aging and the feeling reaction to the thought of aging is for awakening my mind. Also, in that reaction, when I'm taking care of the reaction, I'm also opening up possibilities of things that arise in the experience that seem to reverse aging. Not that you even have to go looking for the shit. It just like pops up. See?
Okay. Yeah. You know, another teacher I had for a while, Barbara Marx Hubbard. I don't know if you know who she is. She
No, I
was in
don't.
California. She's a fairly famous woman. She was known as the mother of futurism is what she was into.
Okay.
And so she totally believed in regeneration, and she taught that too.
Well, yeah, it's not really regeneration though. It's awesome. It's
Well,
really
it's
awesome. Yeah.
I think she used that word because
Uh-huh.
because as elders we say that we're degenerating. So, and she was
Mm,
a lot like you, Hope, too. She loved to make up words. And
fun.
so yeah, she was a very fun, and she giggled all the time. She was really sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, and
You say
she
did she pass away?
did about
Oh,
5
okay.
years ago. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
But you know, one of who's the guy? A guy wrote a book about her. Another famous guy in the world of California spiritualists.
Fun.
But anyway, so
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
okay, I
not an
get that. I get
attachment
that.
thing.
I could
Yeah.
probably do that. We'll see if I can. You know, it's how aware I am. You know, always.
Yeah, that's always what it is. You're you know,
Right. Yeah.
allowing yourself to be more aware of these
Right.
emotional sensations. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's great. You know, like your name, Asana, it's like it's like totally goes along with that too, because you know that's what makes an asana. An asana is that awareness, that presence, you know, otherwise it's just a calisthenic, right?
Yeah. You know what? I picked that name out of a list of Sanskrit words,
Okay.
right? And their
Mhm,
meanings. And
mhm,
when I decided I wanted it to be have a new name,
mhm.
I looked through all the meanings and picked out because I wanted to do it like the Native Americans, right? Where the child is named after what the parents see the future of the child or what their
Oh,
character
interesting.
is or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I want my name to be meaningful, right? To mean
yeah.
something that and so the way it was explained in this particular group of book, definitions
Mhm.
was that it was a physical pose of grace and ease with
Mhm.
oneself. And I said,
Beautiful.
yeah, I want to be that, right?
Okay, that's the breath for you. That's all you need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
That's what makes it the poise and ease. That's what gives it the
Yeah,
poise and ease.
all
You
right.
know,
Yeah. And
otherwise
then
it's some exercise.
right, exactly. So I pronounce it a little different. And so, and it fits in with my real name, because my real name, my middle initial is an A as well. And
You don't have a real
so,
name.
yeah, I don't. Well, let's say the name I'm using is this character at the moment.
I know you say asana and I say
Right.
asana. Yeah.
Asana, because I think that's how they pronounce it in yoga and the poses, right?
That's
I'm not sure.
you know, and I've been having yoga for a while, so everyone says asana, and it was so funny when you told me your name. You said
Yeah,
your name
right.
is Asana, and I'm like,
Right.
Asana? Why would she name herself Asana? And I'm thinking about a sauna, like you sweat in a
Right.
sauna. And then at first, I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like cracking up. I'm like, that reminds me of me. Like I'll find myself saying paradigm, like I knew what it meant, but I never heard it before. So I was just like cracking up. I was like, oh my gosh, it's an awesome. That's so awesome. I love it. That is so fun. I was like, oh, it's perfect.
Right. Mm,
Ah, I love it. Asana.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I say Asana now. We'll see.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
Next thing you know, I'm talking to someone who's a yogi and I say Asana to them. They're
Yeah,
like,
right. They're
what
gonna
the
look at
fuck? I'm like, sorry, I have a friend named Asana.
Did something happen to your brain for a moment?
Right. It's confusing me. I have a friend who likes to be called Asana.
Yeah, right. I'm a sonnet, right? Isn't that hysterical? I'm hot. Ow!
I love it. Yeah, you got this. It's just a matter of paying attention. So it's like a
Right.
more than any of the spiritual concepts or anything like that, it really comes down to that moment when you've got a trigger. The old age one is a great one to use. I love that you're using that one. A lot of people would think that it's your bane if you use that one. No, that's not the case. No one deserves to be aging. If that's
Right.
coming up for you as some kind of trigger for you, that's because you can help heal it. You can heal it completely in your mind. That's where it gets healed. And, you know, that extends to everyone. So everyone can use that same momentum. That's why, you know, you might be the one going through the desert on this thing and on this old age thing. You're like, man, it just keeps on coming around again. And I'm really like, I feel like I'm running a marathon on this thing. It keeps on coming back again. It won't go away. But, you know, you're opening up the way for everyone else to have a shorter journey through it. So, you know, it's like when you do that, it's like this. It's like when you're willing to do that for your people, the ones you made separate from you. When you're willing to do that for your people, it's going to go a lot faster and it's going to be a lot easier. And you're going to feel the blessings too. You're going to sense those blessings that are coming to you because you're doing this in a selfless way. It's not about trying to get something for Asana. It's not like it's not about trying to get Asana to look like she's 25, for instance. It's not for getting Asana's ass to be plump like a apple, plump and cute like an apple, whatever the thing is. That's me.
Darn. I was hoping.
I like that one. So, but you know, the thing is, it's for when you're doing it, as in, you know, being miracle minded, you're doing it for everyone. So it takes all this selfishness out, because where there's selfishness, there's not miracle mindedness. Where there's selfishness, there's suffering. So notice when the thought of old age comes up, it is a selfish thought. I don't want to get old. It is a selfish thought. That doesn't mean you can't use it. You can totally use it. You turn that thing around on itself because you're willing to get the feeling. What does that feel like? And you know, you're watching your breath. Maybe Asana is going to stick her tongue up to the roof of her mouth even. Who knows what she'll remember in the moment. But just but just putting the energy and the attention in that direction. Remember, it is willingness in the moment. It's not making an intention that you're going to do something. It is willingness in the moment to allow whatever it seems to be what it is. You're breathing, you're paying attention, you're getting relaxation wherever you can take it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but it's very simple because all of it's nonsense, all of it's chaos. Only the love is reality.
All right.
You can be relieved from chaos whenever you choose. I noticed, I was sitting out on my patio having a spliff the other day, and between puffs of my spliff, I was looking out on all the greenery, and I just noticed my breath. My breath was in my belly, and it was just like really relaxed. And it occurred to me, this is what Jesus meant when he said, "The meek shall inherit the earth." It's like there's this gentle, just awareness and peace and relaxation. And that's what's going to, in the dream, transform this earth temporarily. It's going to be gone once you're like, nothing is popping up to bother me anymore. It's fucking gone. It's not going to last like that, because that's not what it's set up for. You get a like happy, but then gone.
It's a black hole.
Yes, you're gonna fall in that black hole. That's right. Yeah, that's what we want. We really want the end of dreaming. We want to bring about the end of dreaming, which is really an effect of our mind is purified from that guilty self-concept. So we're not habitually trying to make scenarios where we can play it out a bunch of times. That's all this body nonsense is for. Playing out that shit, seeing through the illusion. All right, I must soak. I'm going to a soak club right now. And I'm it starts in 4 minutes. I'm not going to be there in 4 minutes, but I'm going to get over there and get some nice warm water, volcanic soaking, everyone.
Woohoo.
And I'll be back next week, and we'll talk about things again next week. We'll have a good ass time again next week. Also, I'm in person Fridays at Hawaiian Sanctuary, 3 to 5. Yeah, that's about all I'm doing. Just these 2 wisdom dialogues related, a little bit of writing here and there, a little bit of book. I know I said this last week. I'm probably gonna do wisdom bits again tomorrow. Okay. I know I said that last week, but I think I'm actually gonna do it. I don't know. We'll see. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Yay. HopeJohnson.org to see all the stuff Hope Johnson. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Yay.
Love ya.
I love you.